Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everybody doing today? Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading a message. And yeah, anyways. So, as you guys see, there are some people that are joining in. And give me a second. But yeah, anyways, so yeah, we're gonna cover a few things tonight that we were chatting about in the chat room. And yeah, we're gonna have a little bit of fun with it because there's a lot of people who are out there chatting about things and saying things. No sound, no seconds. Oh, I thought I saw you say no sound. Okay, good. So, anyways, we're gonna go a little over the budget in regards to DoD because there's some people. So it looks like my wife decided to show up right as I was getting started. So, oh yeah, no, we're gonna discuss a little bit about the budget, where where the budget comes from in regards to Gitmo, because a lot of people are trying to figure it out and they were wanting more information about that. So we decided that we're gonna cover that a little bit and wait for Jason to show up, and hopefully he will be showing up very shortly. I know he said 20 minutes, so hopefully it'll be sooner than that. So, good evening, North Carolina. I know we have California, we got New York, Tennessee. I think it's Arizona. I know we have South Dakota in here. A person from Missouri. So, yeah, Texas, Pennsylvania. Welcome. Give me 1 second. My children are interrupting. My daughter likes to come and interrupt me when I'm downstairs. So, yeah, we have Maryland, we have Tennessee. Budget financed mostly by drug sales. I agree. And there's a whole lot more than just that. So, Virginia. Looks like we have quite a few people. Kalamazoo, Michigan. Welcome. So, guys, there is some places that we can find information from, and sometimes it's just we just have to look and actually figure it out where to find the stuff. So, anytime I do anything in regards to anytime I look at stuff, I definitely pay attention to where I'm getting it from. So, when I'm looking at budget stuff in regards to the military, I don't go through Congress. I actually go to what the SecDev or Undersecretary of Defense has actually put together, because 9 times out of 10, that is a budget that is actually put into place for that. So, yeah, we have the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense, the Comptroller, Chief Financial Advisor, or Officer for the U.S. military. And yes, my wife just brought me Culver's. So, but yeah, so, and when you really want to, when you want to see what's going on, the estimated cost of this report or study for the Department of Defense is approximately $35,000. That's a lot of money for a 117-page report. I should have had the calculations done, but it's that's way too much money. So 35,000. It's about $301 a single page, and it's really quite garbage, in my opinion. But yeah, so they have a link in here that literally goes and pulls up all the comptroller news and the financial statements, the agency reports. I mean, all this stuff is part of what goes into that report. So anytime I hear people talking about, well, where's the money coming from? Where's the appropriations? How is that stuff figured? Well, they have to post it. You just have to know where to find it. So, yeah, don't mind me. So, my wife decided to get me some Culver's. So, yeah, $299.24 a page, pretty much $300 a page. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, who in their right mind? Because you actually look at that. Let me back up to it. But let's bring it up. Hello. So you actually look at this, and I mean, yeah, you guys, plenty of money being spent on pages that absolutely have nothing. I mean, yeah, they have a table of contents, but if you were to break down the actual cost per word, it's ridiculous. Let's let's see how let's see if it'll actually tell me how many words there are on that page. Oh, it don't. But still, it's the fact that we have to the fact that we actually have many words on a single page should not constitute how much you're spending on it. I mean, granted, as a plumber, when I charge people as a plumber, I charge them 115, anywhere from 115 to 175 an hour, depending on the work that's being done. So when I look at all that information and I'm like, seriously, write one page. if that's how much that report cost, give me the job, and I'll write that report each and every single day, every day of the year, because that's great money. I'll write all 116, 117 pages per day because, yeah. Good evening, Q Canada. But yeah, anyways, people were asking about Gitmo. People were asking what's going on there. Are they shutting it down? They can attempt to shut it down, but in all reality, guys, it really it can't be shut down unless it's the Congress has actually slashed appropriations, and right now it's too much of a cash cow on both the black budget and the normal congressional budget. They won't shut it down. It's just too financially good, lucrative to them and the people that service that military base. But people were talking today about Biden supposedly taking a trip in an ambulance to the hospital. I did check into it. A lot of sources were saying that, but it actually did not happen. There was somebody that went to the hospital, but it was not Biden. So, I mean, trust me, I was kind of bummed out when I heard that, but yeah, if they gave me 100 of these, I'd start to look like that guy in the newspaper who passed away after he hit about 2,500 pounds or something. Are there celebrities and people from the cabal? Guys, right now Gitmo is housing 14 people. 14. And all of them have Islamic last names. Or Persian last names, I should say, because Islam is the religion. Well, they said Biden's dog was biting people and crapping on the floors of the White House, and I was just wondering if it was more like Dementia Joe doing that. But guys, I just when people talk about reality, the reality is they shut down Camp 7. And Camp 7 is where they did most of the torture. So when people ask, well, how do you know anything about, guys, the stuff I tell you, you guys will actually find out very quickly. It's published in newspapers and stuff like that. If I'm telling you anything juicy, it'll be showing up in a newspaper somewhere near you. Could there be people at Gitmo and not be on the books? Technically, yes. But there has to be a paper trail. Every person that's on the books or even at Gitmo, even if it's top secret or otherwise, there is a paper trail and a chain of custody from the time they were taken into custody to the time that they're tried and sent to whatever prison they're going to. If you really want to get down to the brass tacks, Mandy, yes. So when there's, guys, 90% of the people that are 90% of the people that are part of the clandestine services or the CIA, NSA, and Office of, there's a whole bunch of different intelligence services. But they have to publish a report each and every single year, and it is delivered to congressional oversight. That report every year, they tell you about the report that gets released, and civilians can look through the report, but it's a bunch of black lines. It is heavily redacted. There's very few names that even show up on there. So when you look at the report, it's garbage to a civilian because there's no underlying information and no names that come across that report unless they have been tried and found guilty and are being transferred to the homeland, to ADX Camp Florence or Terre Haute. What those all that kind of stuff goes into those reports. So anytime you see the IC report that comes out, that is where you're going to see it, if you see it at all. So, and they're only required to publish it once a year. But you start looking at clandestine services like the CIA and the operation of black sites across the world. Guys, all that falls under the purview of the black budget. That is not required to be published or even shown in public. There are only 8 people who are absolutely privy to that budget and who can actually see that. You have the President of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, the Speaker of the House, and the Minority Whip. And then you go over into the Senate. There's the Majority Leader and the Minority Leader. Those are the only people that can even really see it, because they're the all those people. It goes right into the chain of command. So, and budgetary reasons. So anytime people are talking about budgets and all that, sealed records, most of your black budget stuff is considered a sealed record. So and from the beginning, guys, since I started, I have literally said there will be no EBS. I know people are going to unfollow me and unsubscribe and whatever, and I'm gonna be honest with you, because quite honestly, I'm not in there to blow smoke up people's skirts. When people are talking about it EBS, they literally signed it into law to where the president can take control of the EBS and do an emergency broadcast. Once that budgetary responsibility is out of the hands of the previous administration, they no longer have access to it. The FCC cuts their access. So anybody who says otherwise is blowing smoke. It's not going to happen. So if they don't take them to Gitmo, we might not know who's arrested. Correct. Quite honestly, they are not considered arrested. If they're black bagged by CIA, NSA, they are not considered arrested. They are indefinitely detained under the Patriot Act, and they get dropped in a hole somewhere, and they are never seen from again. Or they do something like, oh, somebody got suicided, and they hold a funeral and all that, and make it very public that they're gone. They could still be alive, but they're disappeared, and they'll never show up again. So, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of patience for people that are out there misleading others in regards to how stuff really happens in government. What is this Starlink that I've been hearing every What is this Starlink I've heard everybody talking about? Okay, we're gonna we're gonna pull up Starlink. Okay, give me a second, Q Canada, and I will get to you. But if you guys, so Starlink, everybody's talking about Starlink, 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 Starlink. So Starlink is part of SpaceX, which is an Elon Musk based company. Everybody knows who Elon Musk is. And he's been putting up quite a few satellites into orbit with plan to make it reduced cost for internet, satellite internet worldwide, especially in the rural areas. So there, people are wondering about it. That's what it is. Does it have the ability? Is there the ability for nefarious ends? Absolutely. But as for now, I'm not convinced that it will be used for nefarious ends. We'll see what happens. There are some people that like to put out stuff. So we try to do a little bit. Okay. Okay. So you want to know what's going on with him? Bill Gates, he stepped down. The I'm going to answer this question, then we'll get to yours. Bill Gates stepped down from the board of Microsoft. Soros is 83, 84 years old and in very poor health. He has pretty much almost completely disappeared from the public radar. His son is starting to assume control of his empire. So do I expect to see him pass away within the next 6 to 9 months? Yes. Dr. Fauci, the guy's about to get fired in all reality. So I've been hearing rumors coming out of the White House that Fauci and Kamala Harris are kind of at each other's throats, and Fauci's really not welcome at the White House anymore. So we'll see what happens. Pelosi, anybody's guess. Pence, Pence is going to try to regain some semblance of a following, but he's not going to really go too far. As far as Obama and Clinton, as far as I am aware, they are very much alive and healthy. The Obamas have a place at Martha's Vineyard, and I did take a look at the tax records, and yes, their house is under their name. So, and if they were dead or deceased or in prison, it would not show their name. So, and, and basically the same thing with the Clintons. As far as the Pope, we really don't know with the Pope because there's not a whole lot of information coming out of the Vatican City. Zuckerberg, who knows? The guy's a weirdo, and I think the guy seriously knows he needs to keep his head down low, along with Jack Dorsey and Jeff Bezos. But as far as as far as people being arrested, on house arrest, so on and so forth. It'd be a far stretch for me to say that that's confirmed, because believe it or not, Real Raw News is not real raw news. It the guy is a disgruntled editor for the New York Times. The guy who writes those articles. How do I know that? Because I did a background check on him. I know a little bit about his work. So the current administration not allowing the Trump administration to use the EBS. What about the military using EBS to alert us? That would have to be initiated from NORAD, which is not going to happen. NORAD has already the head of NORAD is already in Biden's pocket. So was Siri just talking to me? Yes. Yeah, and quite honestly, guys, I look at things in a very jaded light. I go out of my way to make sure that I put out information that can be verified along with the links. Like Real Raw News. They write articles without sourcing, and they is the military still in control though? No, they March 20th was the last day of the checkbook being in Trump's hands. So as far as control and all that stuff, that's all in Biden's hands right now. For 60 days, correct. From January 20th to now, or till the 20th of March. So anything that happens is going to have to go through the typical normal impeachment process that we go through with any president that is to be removed. So what about the dual presidency? You know, there's a lot of information out there in regards to the dual presidency. And when you look at how it really operates, Trump still receives his daily briefs, and he is still there he is still able to be an advisor to the president, the current administration, and he's basically paid as such, just like Obama. Obama was able to be an advisor, still able to move back and forth, still has access to the White House, so on and so forth. Are we at DEFCON 2? No, we are at DEFCON 4, and we've been there for the last 2 weeks. America is doomed? I don't think so. There are still a few aces left to play. So just because it may not be in the hands of the military anymore, there's still a lot of aces that can be played. So I'm not giving up hope that there's going to be some changes, but I'm being realistic. And I look at election law, I look at all the information that's coming out in regards to the lawsuits, all about it. I'm Q is a massive psyop, and it has been since the idea was formed under the Obama presidency. That's what I've been saying this whole time. People talk about the white hats, but there's just as many black hats behind it as white hats. They have corrupted the message, which is why people are the emotional roller coasters that everybody's been going through. It is designed to keep people paralyzed with anticipation, trying to get people to actually hold on to something, even if it's just an illusion. It is what the game plan had been from the very beginning. The people talking about, so everybody that follows General McRavy on Telegram, that's a fake account. General McRavy does not have a Telegram account. He don't have social media accounts. Period. End of story. He has said that on national television. He has said that on newspaper. He don't have social media. In fact, he has completely disavowed the QAnon movement. Period. He said, I want nothing to do with it, but they're using my name and my face to further their agenda. What are the aces? The aces are the lawsuits that have not been dismissed, the lawsuits that are not getting national attention, the recounts and all that stuff that are going on. You have a recount going on in Georgia. That's a signature verification. You have a complete recount and audit going on in Arizona. A decision's being handed down in a Michigan case that literally has the potential to overturn the entire election of Michigan, because if they can find that 62% of the same thing that they seen in Antrim County happened with the rest of the state, that's enough to flip that state, and that's just 9 counties. Simon Parks, Charlie Ward, Scott McKay, they have some good information, but a lot of it comes from the exact same people. Think about this. Mockingbird. When you look at Mockingbird, Operation Mockingbird, what is the agenda? That people give out 4:00 in the morning, everybody gets all the talking points from whatever, whether it's AP, Reuters, whoever, and whoever's at the top of those companies. They get their talking points. That's all they talk about all day long. When you want to run a successful PSYOP, you use that same exact playbook that you've been using for Mockingbird or with the mainstream, and then you change some things up and put them out. And literally, it's the same exact sources for every single person. So give me a second. But yeah, I understand. This what I'm saying is not light to say. And I know I'm going to lose followers, and I will still say it because it is the truth. And people are being lied to. And people are being led down a road that it is screwing up people's minds. And it's screwing up people's marriages. And it's screwing up people's lives. And it's wrong. I'm not going to blow smoke up your butt. If there's something that's happening, I'm going to let you know. But right now, we have to live with the consequences of an election that was stolen. And until that happens, until people understand that we have to buckle down and work that much harder to make sure that this never happens again, what are we going to do? Guys, I get messages like this every single day from people in our chat, from people that have tuned in. They send me emails. I get text messages. Guys, this isn't a joke. I don't screw around with people's lives. When people ask me, well, why don't you charge? Because the information that I am putting out there, you can find on your own. People being buffaloed into believing things that are supposed to happen, to have that continue on and on and on, it screws here. It screws it up. And when it screws this up, the rest of it becomes damaged. Tensions get higher. Friends and family start to split and fracture. It actually divides more people than it actually brings together. When people talk about a patriot movement, you're talking about people who are willing to work their butts off to buckle down and make sure that this fraud of election never happens again. If you can't bring people together under one common flag and under a belief that we, the people, we as American citizens, are the ones who actually make a difference, and we actually get out and do what we need to do to win elections. If we can't do that, then we're going to continue to get tyranny. So am I saying that Putin's going to nuke us? No, but Putin may Putin may be a friend of the Trump administration, but he is no friend of the Biden administration. Putin wasn't a friend of the Bush administration or the Obama administration. So I know people are there are people who are struggling with their marriage, guys. It is not fair to them to mislead anybody. If you want to wake people up, figure out a way to communicate in a way that doesn't upset the apple cart. Show them the facts. Where's the facts? Guys, go to the resources page. Go and look. U.S. Patents and Trades Office, when you're looking at coronavirus patents, just because you fill out a patent application doesn't mean it makes it to the website. You fill it out, you pay the money, and it's accepted. If there's anything that's like it, it will not be accepted. So there's a vetting process before it gets to the website. When you're looking for the VAERS information, there's a website. Guess what? Civilians can't modify it. People outside cannot modify that. If you're looking for the most up-to-date information, I know, guys, it's government ran, but it is required under the law to publish the information. You just have to learn to look for it and learn what the valuable information is and everything else. If you can't look at it, you can't see it, it's still there. You just haven't dug far enough. They've been stealing the election for a long time. Why wouldn't they ever do anything before? Because this was the most blatant and obvious theft. Before, a few hundred votes here and there, that's one thing. But to flip tens of thousands of votes, that's a whole different story. That's absolutely correct. Can't help anybody if we're not living in reality. And the convention of states, that is a real thing. There is actual precedent and there is actual written down law in the Constitution in regards to the convention of states. So we could revisit that. But people, I base things off of law and what's Supreme Court precedents, all what's applicable case law and all that stuff, because that's what the government's going to go by. Who changed the laws? That if you can answer, here's a problem. People don't answer this question when people ask. They changed the voting laws a few short months before the election that went against our Constitution. Who did and how did it violate it? I can answer it, and you guys. And this is an answer that everybody thinks happened, and it's wrong. So the legislatures did not change the law. It happened at the Secretary of State level, and the legislatures went along with it. They didn't say, hey, no. So when the legislatures don't change that law and it isn't passed, and the Secretary of State changes it arbitrarily to fit their agenda, guess what? The law is not changed. Again, if the Secretary of State changes the voting law and does not go to the legislature to have it changed, it is not changed. Therefore, they have violated the Constitution of not only the state in which they live or in which they are in charge of, they violated the federal Constitution. No, this is individual legislatures. So each state has a legislature, a House, and a Senate, or whatever it's called in your state. They are the ones who have to pass those laws. And so yeah, in Michigan, the legislative branch is questioning the Secretary of State. They've been trying to question it, but keep getting threatened by our Attorney General. Absolutely. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. So, what was the point of putting Amy Coney Barrett and the other Supreme Court judges from Trump in power? There was vacancies on the bench. It's actually written into the law that he must fill it, or he must appoint somebody to those positions. So you can appoint. The Senate must confirm. So do I think Trump will be back in August? Guys, it's a grab bag. As far as timelines, these court cases and the state cases are going to take some time. Do I think we're going to hear in a couple months what the decision is? Yes. But then we enter into a constitutional crisis. What happens? This has never happened before. So they have not allowed many cases as of yet. Nope. But how many cases actually went through discovery? I can tell you on one hand, 4. Of those 4 cases, how many have actually reached the Supreme Court yet? I can tell you on one hand, 0. 0 cases that have allowed discovery have actually reached the Supreme Court. Which case was that, Winks? But yeah, in regards to the actual ones that have had discovery, 0 have reached the Supreme Court. That's the sad part. The wheels of justice in the United States grind very, very slow, and sometimes it takes many years. Let's just put it this way: with all the evidence of Saddam Hussein's corruption and crimes, it still took him 5 years to put him to death. Yep, you cheat on your taxes and stuff, and you go straight to jail, especially if you don't have a D behind your name. But yeah, there's guys, the system's corrupt, and people. I know a lot of people are just they're probably a little furious with me. And you know what? At this point, the people have been lied to for too long. The elite, celebs, Dems, they're all laughing. Absolutely. Do you know why? Because they have kept us doing this number, and they've gotten away with it. They've put their people in power, and it's going to take a lot to get them out of power. Was Trump the guy that was going to bring down the system? If you actually look at what happened while he was in office, he did bring a huge. There was a massive blow to the actual establishment that we've called the nation's GOP and others. And what happened is he actually focused on bringing people down and keeping the. He ended the federal union stranglehold on employability. One of Trump's biggest mistakes was he was always on the defense. Trump wasn't always on the defense. There was a good illusion that he was always on his defense, but he always, guys, if you actually look at 90% of the laws that he passed, 90% of the stuff that he passed, if you look deep in those bills and the laws and the executive orders and all that, those were passed in the heat of the moment. A lot of the really good stuff was passed when maximum pressure was being applied. He didn't knuckle down to people. He did what he thought was right, and he did it with utmost confidence and standing straight up. So he did a bang up job. He was one of the first presidents. He is the first president that I've ever known to actually hold to his promises. And that my hat is off to him. And I would love to see it another 4 years. Jassera Nacera. Again, there's a lot of information out there, and a lot of information conflicts with each other. Some say it's really good, some say it's really bad. Do I 100% buy it on either side? No. But to actually see the underlying documents, nobody's actually been able to show it to me. Exactly. Trump's slogan, and if anybody's read any of his books, you'll know that he always said, I don't know how to do everything, but I surround myself with people that do. So, and there's evidence that some of the stuff that he was signing was definitely not at the in the Oval Office. And in fact, I did when I was with the other show, we actually showed pictures of the Oval Office under Trump, under Biden, and what they claimed was the Oval Office under Joe Biden. There, so you have Obama, Trump, and Biden, and if you look, this it is different. Obama to Trump is the same. Trump to Biden's different. Is all hope lost? No. I think we're gonna move into an era of where where we're going to go into a constitutional crisis in regards to the fraud. And then you will see, once we are in a constitutional conundrum or a constitutional crisis, then I think we would potentially see that the military steps in and there's a actual new election that's held. That's how I would foresee it happening, but because it's never happened before, we really don't know. Do I believe that Biden is in the actual White House? If he's not there, they're really playing. They're really playing like he is. So, but guys, I know this is definitely not the kind of show that I was looking to do tonight, and I kind of dashed a few people's dreams and stuff, and for that I'm sorry. But I just before I got on the show, I was reading through messages and my heart started breaking, and I knew I had to address it. So, guys, for those of you guys who follow me on a daily basis, you know what comes next. We're we are not going to. I'd rather give you a salt covered steak than sugar coated shit because quite honestly, it's not what we want to hear. It's what we need to hear. And if we hear something and it's everything that we want to hear, it's reinforcing bad ideas and going going on and fighting or reinforcing bad idea, bad idea, bad idea. Eventually, over 60 days, guess what? That bad idea is reinforced in your head. So, I from the beginning, I told you guys it, I'm gonna stick with I'm gonna stick to my guns. I'm gonna tell you if it's bull crap, I'm gonna tell you. And we've covered it multiple times over the last month and a half, 2 months. But there comes a point where things have to be said. And when every day every single day, guys, think about this. Every day you hear from Whiplash 347, you hear from Simon Parks, you hear from Charlie Ward, you hear from all these other guys. The EBS is going to come on. Everything will be revealed. The EBS is going to come on. The White Hats are in control. All this. We're getting to the finish line. We're at the finish line. We're over the finish line. When is it going to stop? When does it become a reality? Do we continue to believe the same stuff that people are putting out on TikTok, on YouTube, on all these? Do I think Lindell and others will get sued from Dominion? They already are. But I think those lawsuits are going to be dropped pretty quick because defamation suits require require the plaintiff, which is Dominion, to actually prove that what they're saying is false, and they can't. So, but guys, that this statement right here, right at the bottom of my screen, right here, this statement is what I want people to pay attention to, because this statement is where everybody should be getting sick of. So Trump, no, if you notice, guys, let's you you notice you have General Flynn, who is a big where we come one, we go all. He is he's kind of been on the periphery ever since he was removed from the Trump administration. And he's been a hero of the QAnon movement. But you don't see a whole lot of pictures, current pictures of Trump and Flynn in the same room, close by each other. There's a reason. Trump would never put himself in the same box as Q. Because if you're truly going to run an accurate PSYOP, there has to be complete and utter removal. And Trump has made reference to the Q movement because people have asked him about it. And he said, I hear there are some good people out there. There's other things that he said along the way. But he's never come out straight up and endorsed it. Discovery's gonna opening up in all these states. It is very, very big. So the press of a lawsuit gives them the ability to spin the narrative. Yes. Couldn't have said it any better myself. But yes, they are spinning it to where they're making it seem like Mike Lindell is a liar. Even though it's not factual, that's the way they're going to spin it. Contacting our congresspeople isn't working. When we're talking about individuals, we as individuals, if we're just contacting, imagine what would happen if they were receiving over 1,000 phone calls a day. Every single congressional office was receiving 1,000 phone calls a day. Do you think that noise might get a little overbearing for them? When see, people have been united around the concept of Q. They're united around these Q drops and things that are coming out and things that are happening and all this. And they're expecting things to happen. Yes, they're doing a little bit in there, but outside of people on this channel, outside of people, the 60 people that are watching, and I was made fun of the other night about being excited for 60 people to be watching. Guess what, guys? I wouldn't care if only one person was watching. At least one person was hearing what I was saying. It's not about the numbers. I'm not here for a big following, but I'm not going to go down the rabbit holes where people are into despair. When you focus, when our focus is divided, we cannot truly unite. We cannot truly fight a battle effectively. When our attention is divided amongst searching all these other things, how effective are people when you're seeing on one side, you're seeing all this stuff is being taken care of for you, And on the other side of things, you're seeing that okay, there's this that needs to be fixed. We eliminate all the stuff that is being taken care of for us. Because quite honestly, if it's being taken care of for us, we don't need to worry about it, right? So focus your attention on what is stuff that we need to focus our attention on. And hammer our Congress people each and every single day. Get people that we know, talk to people that we know to contact our Congress people. Actually hit the stuff that actually matters. The QAnon, the Q stuff, guys, and I know this video is going to be taken down because I am bringing up Q. But the biggest thing is they're saying that stuff's taken care of for you. Where does that sound familiar, guys? Think about this. If everything's taken care of for you and you don't have to do nothing, who's really in control of it? Is it Republicans or is it Democrats? Because the last time I checked, the Republicans, they say you need to work. We need to work for what we have. We need to work for what we got. The Democrats are the ones who are saying, hey, guys, we got everything covered for you. You don't have to worry about it. We got you covered. And that is absolutely correct. If the battle's already won, then what do? We sit around waiting. The battle's not won, guys. We're not done. If we are done, then we deserve the tyranny in which we live in. If we're not done fighting for and talking to people and fighting for everything that we believe is right, then our freedoms will last one more generation. We have to fight for what we believe in. We have to believe. We have to move forward with truth, honesty, and reality. Yeah. Contact them again and again. Publish their number on your Facebook. Guys, I hit Christendom. So, as a disclaimer, Christendom's husband is my wife's second cousin. So, I kind of have a family access. But there are still things that I disagree with Christendom on. And I hit her for it. And I'm on her Facebook page. I'm calling her office. I'm calling her cell phone number. Guess what? When there's something that needs changed, I hit them everywhere I can. Whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter, whether it's her office phone, whatever way I have to communicate to them, that is how you actually do it. Blast them, because guess what? Eventually that message is going to get out. And more people are going to say, you know what? I guess it's okay for me to speak out against a tyrannical government. It is okay for me to speak out against a vaccine. It is okay for me to say, you know what? I'm sick and tired of living on my knees. I think it's time for people to stand up. And I think it's time for people to actually take back the civil liberties that we have been giving up for the last generation. We no longer can stay silent, because staying silent means we're living on our knees. And the last time I checked, that I have never lived on my knees in America. The only time I hit my knees is when I'm praying. So when it comes to honesty, and when we focus on what we really want to say and what our message is, we have to focus on a game plan, actually strategize, talk about how this plays out, documents, where where do you do your research, how do you, because quite honestly, if you just have newspaper articles that are written by people that you don't know, that are not verified, that you can't, what's going to happen? Nothing. So having the congressional budget, going through all these bills, actually reading through them, understanding them, that is how we are able to fight on the level that they are fighting on. HR1. How many people actually know what HR1 is about? And I'm talking about House Bill 1 or House Resolution 1 that is in the United States Congress. And yes, we guys, all of this stuff is peaceful. We're not advocating violence. You have to hit them where you have to actually look at the laws that they're trying to pass. And you have to communicate with them on the laws that they're being passed. But again, another thing. Call out their sponsors. Infrastructure supposedly, but equality mainly. Guys, this whole bill, only 6% of it goes to infrastructure. The rest of it's pork. But what else? What else is that law about? Yeah, it's talking about restricting our gun rights, but what else is that law about? That's a questions that people need to be asking, and they need to be doing the research. They need to be looking at this because, quite honestly, if I was to tell you that this HR1 was going to suspend your Fourth Amendment instead of your Second Amendment, would you would you think that I was telling you the truth? Jen Psaki said it. She said, quite honestly, it has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. It has everything to do with the Fourth. Well, what's the Fourth Amendment for? Its protection is against unreasonable or unwarranted search and seizure. So they're telling the truth, but they're mixing it in and saying that, oh no, we're not touching your Second Amendment. We're going after your Fourth. If I were in Canada, would I recommend that you study and learn Canadian civil law and human rights? Absolutely. We have to go out of our way to understand the laws in the countries in which we live. I know we have a gentleman on here that's from the Philippines. Again, same thing. Understand the laws in the country in which we reside and are partaking or can partake in government. HR1 is a restrictive bill in regards to more gun rights and gun ownership and gun confiscation and stuff like that. But reread the Constitution. Absolutely. And guys, with this, I know it's been an hour and 15 minutes. I know time flies, but I probably should jump off here and actually go and take a look at my wife's vehicle. But guys, I hope it was informative tonight, and I hope too many people aren't mad about what I had to say. But remember, you have a pen and you still have a microphone. Use them. The silent majority can no longer stay silent. God bless you guys. God bless the United States of America. We will see you at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.